They want to call it the Trump card, because the Trump card sells much better than the gold card. Everybody has a
So you're not worried about any unsavory people coming in and taking...
Yeah, I'm worried about unsavory, in which case we're going to...
They're going to be vetted?
Give them the money back and they get out.
They'll be properly vetted?
They're going to be properly vetted, but, you know, we're talking about a lot of people. I think it's going to be very successful. If somebody's wrong, we actually are very, very nice, because it makes it a lot easier legally. We give them their money back and we send them out.
Trump's $5 million gold visa is shockingly probably not a good value for these wannabe American millionaires. It's also not entirely legal. So what do we always hear? We hear follow the money, but also pay attention to where the money is not going. And right now it is not going to Trump's $5 million gold visa, the one with his face on it. And if he can't get his face on US currency, it's almost like he can just then do the weird grifty thing and put his face on something else instead. Wouldn't be the first time the man, for all of his money, has got no class.
$5 million. For $5 million, this could be yours. That was the first of the cards. And then, you know what that card is?
Gold card.
It's the gold card. The Trump card, gold card.
Who's the first buyer?
Me.
So last month, in case you missed it, which would be understandable given the inconceivable plethora of headlines that we have been inundated with recently, Trump launched the Trump Card website. The card basically sells permanent residency in the United States to any lucky millionaire who can just afford the card. But for a website and offering that is supposed to appeal to the wealthy elite, the website is laughable. It hardly represents anything of value or effort. It looks like some boomer just with no web experience built a website, which is probably what happened. ChatGPT could have, and honestly probably should have, built a better site than the one that Trump launched. Also, calling it a website is a little bit generous. It's more of a landing page, and those are fine. Those serve a purpose in marketing. And the landing page itself was little more than just a sign-up form where these millionaires could fill in their information and express their interest in Trump's visa. Again, sign-up forms are typically fine. I have no problem with online forms. But this one maybe is too simple considering what is potentially on the other side of it. Again, ChatGPT could have and probably should have written better copy than this. That is the whole form, and that is also basically the whole website. Apart from the form, there is a picture of the card with Trump's face on it. There are a few government seals, and it says an official website of the United States government twice on this website, because I guess they really needed to just reiterate the point, because the website does actually look fake. It looks kind of like a scam. But look, these people didn't become millionaires by sweating the small stuff like copy on an online intake form. Trump certainly did not get to where he is today because of his wide-ranging vocabulary or his genius-level intellect, regardless of what he would like you to believe. He got to where he is today by dumbing down his message to the point that it became entirely nonsensical. And what we have all learned over the course of his 3 presidential campaigns is that nonsense really speaks to the American people. Speaking of, here is what Trump posted on Truth Social promoting his website. For $5 million, the Trump card is coming. Thousands have been calling and asking how they can sign up to ride a beautiful road in gaining access to the greatest country and market anywhere in the world. It's called the United States of America. Seriously, who is writing this stuff? Thousands want to ride a beautiful road. I don't know, maybe ChatGPT is writing this stuff, but AI has come a long way by now, and I don't want to insult the computer. Anyway, a few weeks after the launch of this website, it still says that the card is coming, it is not here. The online form just signs people up for a mailing list so that they can be notified once access opens. There is another website for the visa application that is not available to the public, so I suppose the millionaires who fill out the publicly available form then get sent a second link to the actual application separately. But let's be real, Trump will sell anything he can to whoever is willing to buy it. He said he wouldn't mind selling these visas to a Russian oligarch, for example. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is trying to sell the idea to the American people by suggesting that these visas could be the thing we need to really chip away at our nation's astronomical debt.
I mean, it makes me very popular. Last night, I was out to dinner and someone came up and said, can I buy 10? And how do I buy 10? And I'm like, that's pretty good. It's $50 million for dinner. So, you know, I was paying paying for my dinner.
The card is also being used to rebrand yet again the old trickle-down economics. It's the same story that pops up time and time again, and they just assume or hope that people won't recognize it for what it is if they just don't say the words trickle-down economics anymore, because that is a bad look. But Lutnick said this: "These are going to be great people who are going to come and bring businesses and opportunity to America, and they're going to pay $5 million. If there are 200,000 people who pay, that's $1 trillion. So $1 trillion isn't that much when you consider the fact that our debt is at $36 trillion. So 200 million millionaires times 36. It's not like, where are you going to find all these millionaires? He also conflated great people with millionaires, and I'm sure that was no accident or coincidence. He also said that they will bring business and opportunity to the country, maybe creating jobs. That was the usual sell. Maybe that is the sell that they're still trying to go with. But in today's consumer and therefore dollar-driven economy, the workers are not the priority anymore. The money is, and the people who will benefit from all of these businesses and opportunities will not be the average American workers. It will be the same millionaires and billionaires who were able to buy access to our markets in the first place." And Trump said this about the card: "Wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy and they'll be successful and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people, and we think it's going to be extremely successful." So they are going with the job creation angle, which we know is not going to be a thing. And it's also funny because I thought that this country just gave the wealthy a huge tax cut. So like bringing taxes up at all is a little questionable. But the part about they will be spending a lot of money is, as I said, just a rebrand of the same old tactic that we know from experience only serves to further enrich the already rich. Well, most of us know it. Some of us are still falling for it. But you know who isn't falling for it? The wealthy. Lawyers are now warning their wealthy clients that Trump's visa is simply not worth the $5 million price tag. Who could have known? Also, is this thing even legal? Here is reporting from the Washington Post. Doug Rand, senior advisor to the former director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services under President Joe Biden, said that no administration has changed visa eligibility criteria since the 1990 law that formed today's green card and temporary visa categories. There is no lawful basis to do this, and if they do it anyway, they're going to get sued, and they're almost certainly going to lose. But as tacky as this whole scheme is, made all the more so by Trump's insistence on putting his own face on the card, it's not exactly a new concept. This card is meant to replace an already existing program, the EB-5 Investor Visa, which basically exchanges residency for a significant investment into the economy between $800,000 and $1.05 million. Trump upped the price and then stuck his face on it. So we're also not the only country to offer programs like this one, but as I mentioned before, not everyone likes these programs because they represent another iteration of trickle-down economics. An influx of wealthy investors into a region can upturn local communities and economies, devastating real estate prices and overall widening the wealth gap. Not to mention, the wealthy who tend to take advantage of such programs are less inclined to pay taxes than Trump would have you believe. And since there is so little oversight as to what these wealthy people get up to once they've gained access to a country, money laundering is rampant. But, it would appear that not even wealthy crooks are interested in Trump's visa. According to the Washington Post, an employee at the Department of Homeland Security said, as of late June, not a single application had come along on a web page for the visa application, which isn't public, the employee said. It turns out that despite Trump's ability to launch a bad website, Trump cannot change immigration rules without congressional approval. Maybe he'll get it at some point, that is certainly possible, but as of right now, there doesn't even seem to be anything on the books that is working toward that end. Ron Klasko, an immigration attorney, told the Washington Post that he's had some wealthy international clients inquiring about the visa. He said, "Why would I want to do that before I know if it's a law, what the law says, what the requirements are, what information the form is going to ask me for, what documents I have to produce, and what the terms and conditions are?" So here we have yet another half-baked scheme from our schemer of a president and the schemers that he surrounds himself with. And I guess the nice thing about Trump is that you can usually tell whether or not that what he's pushing is a scheme based on whether or not he puts his literal face on it. When Trump leans so heavily into his own personal branding, it usually means that he's trying to dupe people, because otherwise he would just go off of the merits of the things that he's trying to promote. Unfortunately for Trump, the people that are most susceptible to falling for such schemes are his most ardent and sycophantic and cult-like MAGA supporters, most of whom, maybe even all of whom, are not international millionaires, all right? That is it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.